welcome to my Hey It's Carly Rae book club on YouTube. Today I'm so excited because it is author interview day on my channel. But before I reveal what author I'm going to be chatting with today, you guys need to hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell to be alerted of all the new videos on my channel. So, what author am I going to be talking about today on Hey It's Carly Rae? It is da-da-da-da!
Hi, I'm Chris Cirak, author of Be You, The Journey of Self-Realization. Thanks, Carly-rae, for having me on the program. I love your energy. I'm going to try my best to keep up.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on here, Chris. He is the author of Be You. You guys can seriously read these chapters like one at a time throughout the day, and they're awesome. So I'm so excited to be talking with Chris today. So without further ado, let's get started in chatting with Chris. Now, one thing I'm always curious about with authors is what makes them decide to write a book. So, Chris, my first question for you is, what made you decide to write Be You?
So that's a great question. I would say I didn't really decide to write Be You. It was more something that dawned on me or came to me, if you will. I was on my own journey, researching, looking for answers to life's questions and so forth. And part of that was journaling and writing down, feelings and processing events. And so there was a series of circumstances that brought the idea that this might turn into a book, and then furthermore a message that was to be conveyed outward, and I had to go through that process of learning to step into that role. It was not necessarily in my nature, but it's so it decided for itself to be written through me.
Well, I'm definitely glad it got chosen to be written by you, through you, because you did an awesome job in compiling Be You. Now, my next question for you is, do you have a favorite part of Be You? What are you most excited for readers to read in this book?
Yeah, well, there's no one particular thing that I'm excited about the book. It's really all of it, but also the recognition that anyone who's reading it will get as much out of it as they are ready to and as they want to. I'm not here to promote one part over another. I think there's value to everyone that if you just want to dip in and get some encouraging nuggets of wisdom, that's one thing. Or you can do a bigger sit and really let it all sink in at a much deeper level. So whatever your life situation is, that's really what the book is designed to do, and that's a reflection of really two things that I was missing when I was looking for answers and on my journey. And so one was the accessibility and the discoverability of the topics that I was interested in. I was never really one to read a whole book only to find one chapter or even just one paragraph that applied to my particular situation. And I think especially modern audiences, not everyone has the time or the desire to take in an entire reading just to find that tidbit that they're looking for. And same thing with online videos and so forth. And so really that's part of how the book was written and designed, so that it's almost like a glossary that you can just jump into any of the chapters. There's about 50 chapters, each one pertaining to one particular topic, all the core facets of life that we tend to struggle with and are look for answers for. And so you can just as easily jump into somewhere midway through the book into whatever chapter you're interested in without having to read the whole book. And you can, of course, and then it'll sink in even more, but you don't have to. And so that was part of the design. The other aspect was the language. I think we've all had the experience where somebody maybe gave us a book and we opened it, and it just sounded the language, the vocabulary, the jargon was just beyond us. We weren't ready to get it, or it was woo woo maybe even. And then a few years later, we opened up the same book, and suddenly it makes sense, right? So this was one of the things I wanted to avoid, in that I wasn't going to let the language, the vocabulary, get in the way of the deeper wisdoms that essentially everyone's talking about the same thing, but from a different angle, different perspective, different language, different wrapper. But the language in Be You is very down to earth, extremely pedestrian and layman, and in a good, in the best possible way. And just so the language wouldn't get in the way of the wisdom.
Yeah, and one of my favorite parts about BU was how down to earth the language was. And I really did like the fact that if I did put this book down, I could pick it right back up and I wasn't wondering where I left off, or if I want to start at a certain chapter in BU, I can. So that was an amazing job that you did in writing this novel, because I do think in modern times, especially nowadays, we all are running around trying to do a lot of stuff. And that's something that I really enjoyed and found refreshing in your book. So my next question for you is, was there any point in crafting BU you said to yourself, wait, I can't do this?
That's a great question. So yes, in fact, every time it was me writing, that it became very clear very quickly that I should put the pen down and come back another time. And what that really is the creative process. If we're coming from this headspace of the belief that we know all the answers, that is not the source of wisdom. Our mind is a tool that we use, but it's not the place from which creativity flows. And so I had to make sure that I was in an open enough space to allow that flow to happen, and really, as I was mentioning earlier, for the book to write itself through me. Because if it was me writing, it would be a very different experience. I would notice very quickly, I'd be laboring over one sentence for 12 minutes and it wouldn't go anywhere. And so that's when I knew I needed to step away and come out of that mind identified place. And there's things I would do that enabled me to then kind of open up again and then come back, and then they would be flowing again. And really the experience of writing from that open flow space was one of novelty. It would be me experiencing the writing pretty much like a first-time reader would of the book. That it was that same experience for me reading my own words.
Well, I definitely think a lot of readers and authors and writers out there can definitely relate to that, and staying stuck on one sentence and having to get up and get away from it for a few minutes. Now, I am curious to know, did you always want to be a writer?
No. In fact, I never even crossed my mind. And that's really, a lot of the book talks about how to find purpose and direction in life, and how we're so used to deriving meaning from our conditioned environments that tell us we should be this, or you're great at that, and most of it is well-meaning, but it's not you. So those outside voices telling you who you should be, they don't know you. They're not you. And how do we tap into that inner voice? So that's always in tune with the situation, is always telling us, even if we don't listen to it many times, it's there, and it guides us. It's our internal GPS. So really opening up to that voice and letting it guide you through circumstances, not trying to plan your life, out before living it. That's really, what the essence of the book is about. And so I live a lot of my life in kind of this planning and controlling, steering way, and you can achieve certain things, but it's hard work, and it was part of my journey to recognize that there's a better, easier way that is really the way it's meant to be, and the way life is meant to flow. And so the writing really is an act of surrender of, well, this is what is calling me to it, and as opposed to me conjuring up an idea and then pursuing it. And even the word writer is a label ultimately, and labels they tend to lead us to a place of defining ourselves through these labels and words, and a lot of it is trying to stay away from labeling or something. Focus on what you love, what resonates in front of you right now, and it will turn into something. You're connected to it. That's where your life force and your creativity and your joy and your happiness and prosperity all stems from, that connection to who you really are, who be you, right? And if you follow that, it will turn into something, whatever label the world puts on it. That's fine, but you're not pursuing a label with the projections and the prestige or the whatever is attached to it, the ideas and the feelings that we expect to have fulfilled. And it's staying out of that, because that leads us to live for the future, for outcomes. And then we're never really present. We're never really living for who we are, which is always happening right now and our circumstances.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I do think it is really important as well to live in present, because I do think, especially nowadays, we do tend to focus on the future and forget what's happening right now. Now, take us through your day when you are writing. Do you go to a particular place? Do you have to have your desk completely organized? How, when, where do you write?
Yes, so while I was writing the book, I definitely had a routine down. It took over 2 years. I would just sit down and start writing, and really that's part of the message as well. And I've been teaching for almost 10 years, and that's what I tell my students as well, is just start doing, because as long as we're in our heads and ideas, and we tend to overthink, we tend to overplan, once things get going, they really take on a life of their own. It's never the way we expect it to be or want it to be. And in fact, our role then is to allow things to unfold the way they want to, and not so much insist on it that it needs to be a certain way, something that we projected beforehand. And because when we resist that natural flow, that's when life gets difficult. So yeah, that's my day would be definitely trying to sit down and write as many words as I could. And as soon as I noticed that I wasn't in the flow, that I would step away and just kind of break that monotony. It could be meditation, it could be going for a walk, it could be exercising, whatever it may be. It could be cooking a meal. But a lot of those activities are really helpful. They take you out of that headspace that gets ultimately everything we come up with in our heads is a limitation, right? Everything is possible, and as soon as we assign meaning or intent to something, that giant big world of possibilities shrinks down into just that little idea or sliver of what we think it should be, and then there's not enough room and breathing space in there for creativity to flow and ideas to really take life and take shape. So really if you're this is the case with creative pursuits as it is with business, as it is with anything else, really, is to come at it from that place of connectedness, to more to your presence and your body awareness, and not so much being in your head space, because that's where the steering and the controlling happens. So that would be my routine for while I was writing. Now that the book is done, I'm doing more of the public speaking and the teaching part.
I can definitely relate to that. The first book I ever wrote, I was so focused on it that I didn't let the story flow through me. My second and third book, I kind of allowed that to take over and have its own personality and didn't really plan. So I think that's awesome that that's how you wrote your book. And I do think a lot of writers maybe that are stuck out there writing their book, you guys definitely need to listen to what he said, because it definitely helps. Now, something viewers might not know about you, Chris, is you're not just an author, you're also a speaker. Before that, you were a teacher and lecturer and designer and researcher. Tell us more about your background and how it has helped you write Be You.
Yeah, so as I just mentioned, the teaching and the public speaking, and really, I have a design background, design psychology, user experience design thinking. That's been my kind of career, if you will. And but in addition to that, engaging with a lot of people and so forth, there's also my own life experiences, and many of those go back to well before the working life, and a lot of international travel and different contrasting experiences. So ultimately, whatever happens, it all informs who you are today, and that's part of the message as well. We can't reject anything. In fact, the hard times, as we all know, we tend to grow a lot more from those than we do when things are peaceful and calm. Those periods are necessary as well, and you should lean and into those as much as possible, just as well. You deserve to a rest from the ongoing the growth desire that is in us, right? That's that natural desire to just expand. And, we do a lot of things to distract ourselves from that. And society kind of conditions us to not pay that much attention to this natural expansion that we're subject to. But once you kind of catch on to that, then there's really no turning back. You have to keep growing, as tiring as it is sometimes. It's just the way of life.
Yes, everybody take note of that. You have to keep growing, but yes, it is tiring, but don't give up. Now, Chris, will you be writing more books?
Yeah, so by now you can probably guess my answer, which is if it's meant to be, it'll happen. It'll call itself out to me, and then there's no resisting it. And but in the meantime, there have been requests for a workbook and more of like a practice journal, companion book to BU. So that'll probably be something I'll be coming out with. And then there were other ideas. Obviously, when you work on any creative endeavor, there are offshoots where you kind of take a concept and put it aside. The original manuscript, number one, was over 500 pages. And the book is, I think, half of that. And so there's a lot of other ideas that could turn into other pieces of work, but time will tell.
Well, I'm definitely excited to see what else you come out with, and I would like a companion book to be you, so I'll be looking out for that. Now, if viewers want to follow you on social media, where can they find you? Are you active on social media?
Yes, so I am on social media. I'm very active. I still do most of the answering if I can. Sometimes it does get very busy. So you'll find me on all the main platforms, and Instagram and Facebook and MeWe now, and there's new ones popping up all the time. But obviously my own website, cirak.com. That'll always be the kind of the hub for a lot of things, and that includes the master classes. These are online workshops that I'm launching as we speak, and they kind of revolve around each of the many topics that impact us as we go through life, and we try to make sense of all of it. And so definitely check out any of the social sites, and I'll be announcing upcoming masterclass workshops, and I hope to see you in one of them.
Thank you so much for coming on and doing this author interview on my channel today, Chris. I really enjoyed hearing all of your answers.
Thank you, Carly-rae. It was a great pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And thanks again for all the great work you're doing out there. And keep going, keep being you.
And live your best life, right? Now, for those that want to find out more about BU, you guys can go to HeyitsCarlyRae.com. You guys can also find all of Chris's social media links in the description below. You guys can also find the link of where to get your copy of BU. Thank you so much for joining me on here, Chris. And for those viewers watching, give this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. You guys can also follow me on social media. Hey, it's CarlyRae on Instagram. Hey, it's CarlyRae1 on Twitter. Hey, it's CarlyRae at Tumblr. Hey, it's CarlyRae on Pinterest. Hey, it's CarlyRae on Facebook. And Hey, it's CarlyRae Book Club on Facebook. I have 2 pages on there. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys want to see another author on here for an interview, be sure to let me know. Have an awesome day and live your best life and be you.